So, what the heck is an XLR-V, and what is this bizarre-looking SL behind me with a Cadillac badge on it? You can hardly be blamed for being unaware of these. This was a two-seat hardtop convertible made by Cadillac that was based on the Corvette C5 platform, and it is truly a remarkable car that has fallen into obscurity despite being Cadillac's most expensive car since before World War II and until the Escalade-V when you account for inflation. The XLR was Cadillac's halo car from 2003 to 2009, with the Performance XLR-V being made from 06 to 09 in very small numbers and featuring more power as well as additional performance parts. So this is a 2006 car. It has a 4.4 liter supercharged Northstar V8, makes 443 horsepower, it has a 6-speed automatic magnetic ride control suspension, and brakes directly lifted from the C6 Z51. As far as the mechanical bits go, there's nothing really strange going on here from GM. Lots of Corvette stuff. Let's move to the inside. Inside, we've got an interior that was quite opulent for the time. You've got mixed leather and suede or Alcantara, and a full wraparound leather dashboard. The center stack is surrounded by a nice looking trim. Supposedly it's aluminum. Doesn't feel that great. The wood that is present is clearly fake, but they did manage to make it look and feel like a nice epoxy covered wood, so it gets a pass. Especially on the door handles. They feel really solid. It feels like epoxied wood. The switches are all GM standards, so they're incredibly cheap and ugly, but they're nicely anchored, so they don't really bend or creak or break for that matter, so that's good. The door handles are just like a Corvette in that they're electronically actuated. The seats and steering wheel automatically retract when entering and exiting, which makes getting in and out of this very low car a little bit less dramatic. This car is often described as the most beautiful interpretation of Cadillac's early 2000s art and design styling, and well, I can hardly disagree. In person, this car is absolutely stunning with the top down or up. The hood is just impossibly low to the ground for a front-engine car, and there's this giant crease that goes all the way from the headlights, past the doors, and into the taillights of the car. The rear end features a little bit of articulation that keeps it from being entirely flat across the trunk. And finally, there's the quad center tailpipes that finish the look. Again, something taken from the Corvette. All around the car are these V badges, and on the doors are a small supercharged chrome trim that altogether let people know that this is a real high-performance car for 2006, at least. So the first thing you'll notice driving this XLR-V is that it is quite loud. The previous owner installed a Corsa catback exhaust. It's a bit much, but it definitely matches the character of the car. It's not subtle. The second thing you'll notice is, despite this being largely based on the Corvette, it doesn't really drive like one. The ride quality is really good. It's way better than my R129 SL600 was by a mile. And I'd say it's pretty close to like a modern C-Class or like Lexus IS. The only time that it's noticeably worse than those is when you have a big speed bump or dip in the road, because the suspension travel just there's just not enough available, so it really rides those a little bit more. The steering is accurate and well weighted, as are the pedals, albeit I definitely prefer the throttle weight of the S600 and SL600, but that's just a personal preference. The transmission isn't great, being that it's like an early electronic transmission. It's like a 6L80E or something. The programming really isn't up to modern standards. It's a lot like a 5G Tronic. But it shifts quickly, and its manual mode is one of my favorite. It's really easy to switch in and out of, and it doesn't have any override that automatically upshifts or automatically downshifts like some of those cars do. The Northstar V8 gets a lot of flack, but This engine note is really a joy to listen to in this application, and to me it feels like a good mix of kind of refined European-style V8s with just a hint of the American muscle. Finally, there's the X factor of this car, and it really comes down to this. It doesn't feel like a car that Cadillac made to try to match the Mercedes SL, or a car that tries to compare itself to any competition. This feels like Cadillac made a real effort to simply make the best car that it could at the time, and that's something I really just love about it. It's an all-American tribute to the automotive industry. It's American exceptionalism of the early 2000s put into a single vehicle. There's also the fact that this car gets just more attention on the road than anything I've ever owned. I owned a new Supra, not even close. My AMG bodied SL600, the R129, no contest. I mean, everywhere I go, there are people asking me at stoplights, asking me in parking lots. I've even had people roll down their windows in the middle of the highway and try to shout at me asking about this car. And for the most part, it's like not car people that are really interested in it. Albeit car people absolutely love it too, of course. But it's mostly normal people. You feel like a celebrity driving around the XLR-V. And so if that's something you really hate, this may not be the car for you. I personally don't mind that. So finally, we have to talk about the kind of pricing of XLR-Vs. The prices on these have kind of bottomed out already, and they've begun to rise, at least according to like Haggerty and the other valuation. They only made about 2,000 of the V models, and if you're a car guy, which if you're watching this video, you probably are, you gotta have the V model. Like, come on. It's a good GT car. It's not too extreme like a Corvette. You know, a lot of people drive their Corvettes around and go like, oh, this is a great daily car. It's really not. The XLR is much better than the Corvette at that. And this will also probably be the last gasoline-powered roadster that Cadillac will ever make. Thanks for watching, and if you liked this video, please, do all that stuff. Leave a like, a comment, or something, or subscribe. Or go and bid on this car at Cars and Bids. Thank you so much.